Russian President Vladimir Putin just announced that his country is going to be working on a new cryptocurrency stablecoin that is government ran under his direction called the CryptoRuble. At the same time, Russian forces are amassing a presence on the Ukrainian border, but Bitcoin donations are flowing into the country of Ukraine at an amazing pace. Now, while all this is happening, the previously untaxed cryptocurrency country of Venezuela, which was used to fight hyperinflation in 2017, is having a new 20% tax imposed on Venezuelan residents that use Bitcoin. In an attempt to bring cryptocurrency out of the shadows, Russian legislators and regulators are wanting to have, by the middle of February, a plan drafted to make a cryptocurrency stablecoin, the CryptoRuble, in Russia as a formal currency under the directive of President Vladimir Putin. Russian legislators and regulators are pushing for this to say, quote unquote, it would minimalize the threat to the Russian financial system. Now, this groundbreaking effort is actually a unity between Russia's government and their central banking system. These pieces of legislation would either amend existing laws or create or draft new laws which would recognize cryptocurrency as a legitimate form of currency inside the country. This new position that they are taking is significantly different, as over the last month the Russian government has actually been proposing a move to ban certain cryptocurrencies and miners, as they were formally saying it would actually endanger the Russian financial system. A complete 180 from what is being said now. We do actually have a piece of this draft document here, and I will go ahead and read that for you now. It states, the establishment of rules for the circulation of cryptocurrencies and control measures will minimize the threat to the stability of the financial system and reduce the use of cryptocurrencies for illegal purposes, since a complete ban on the segment of operations related to their circulation is impossible. This new cryptocurrency, the CryptoRuble, does have some very tight parameters. Anybody making a transaction over 600,000 rubles, or approximately 800,000 USD, will have to fully document and report that transaction. Who was involved, where it came from, where it went, and what it was used for. Now, anything that operates outside or above these parameters will instantly be considered an illegal activity. Regardless of the activity, it has to be reported. Another quote from this draft document reads the following. In quotes, the complete absence of regulation of this industry, as well as the establishment of a ban, will lead to an increase in the share of the shadow economy, an increase in fraud cases, and destabilization of the industry as a whole. We can kind of start to see that this is the adapt or die mentality, or the adapt or be overrun mentality in this case. It seems that the Russian government is accepting the fact that they will either adapt to the growing digital economy, or they will simply have to accept the fact that it will be taking place in the background regardless of their involvement or not. So they have opted to make their own CryptoRuble currency, which will be heavily regulated. Now, there are several entities inside and outside of the direct Russian government that are decision makers on this subject. So we have a statement here, and there are a few institutions and lawmakers that are a part of this, including the Ministry of France, the Federal Security Service, the Federal Tax Service, and the Ministry of Internal Affairs, to name a few. Now, they released this statement. The implementation of the concept will ensure the creation of the necessary regulatory framework, will bring the digital currency industry out of the shadows, and create the possibility of legal business activities. Now, this is to say that any activities currently taking place with the digital currency or any digital currency would they be considered illegal currently, as this is not going to be drafted until the middle of February. So come middle of February, we will have an update on this, as the lawmakers and regulators will have the fully drafted legislation complete. We will be able to read over that and see exactly how this is going to impact the financial structure of Russia, and now especially with everything else going on, we also have to talk about the amazing amounts of Bitcoin that are flowing into the country of Ukraine as Russian troops are amassing and making a serious presence on the border. With the ever-increasing threat growing on the Ukrainian border, volunteer groups inside the country have started crowdfunding and raising donations in the form of Bitcoin to help support their military. According to a company called Elliptic, which is a blockchain analyst firm or company, hundreds of thousands of dollars have been pouring into these volunteer groups in the form of the Bitcoin cryptocurrency. Now, this crypto is being used in a multitude of ways by the Ukrainian military to raise military general supplies, medical equipment, and things such as drones. Now, the company that is actually providing this data, Elliptic, their chief scientist, Tom Robinson, issued this statement. Cryptocurrency, and I quote, is increasingly being used to crowdfund war, with the tacit approval of governments. It's an open admission that cryptocurrency is heavily being used to crowdfund war, and they were the company that issued the statement saying that hundreds of thousands of dollars of Bitcoin were going to these NGOs or non-governmental operations. Now, in the past, Ukrainian funds have been received through the traditional means of wire transfers or bank transfers. However, with the rise of the digital market, cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin have become the preferred option, as there is no way for a centralized bank to block these payments or to block this funded support. Now, Elliptic's chief scientist Robinson also had the following statement on the situation. Cryptocurrency is particularly suited to international fundraising because it doesn't respect national boundaries and it is censorship resistant. There is no central authority that can block transactions, for example, in response to sanction. Elliptic reporting that volunteer groups and these NGOs have raised approximately $570,000 in cryptocurrency. However, that over $500,000 in cryptocurrency is not the only crowdfunding that is going on inside of Ukraine. Now, the UCA, or the Ukrainian Cyber Alliance, has also raised close to $100,000 in cryptocurrency, ranging from Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin. The company Elliptic, which does monitor many digital currency transactions, had this statement on that exact deal. Their operations have included attacks, speaking of the UCA, on propaganda sites, the Russian Ministry of Defense, and various individuals linked to Russia's activities in Ukraine. Intelligence collected during these operations is reportedly shared with Ukrainian law enforcement and intelligence agencies. Now, that was according to that report from Elliptic on the UCA and their use of these funds that they are receiving in their crowdfunding digital currency operations. Now, we can see that there is a multitude of currency flowing into Ukraine and going to different organizations inside the country, all seeming to serve a different purpose, whether they are directly funding military gear for the Ukrainian military, or they are going after propaganda or these malicious sites deemed by Ukrainian officials. Regardless of the specific use of these currencies, we can see that all of the organizations are seemingly working together to protect their country, protect their citizens, and fund their military in case the need of ground defense happens. Now, I'm sure many of you don't know, but Ukraine has actually been increasingly friendly towards digital currency such as Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum, actually adopting XLM or Stellar Lumens in 2021 to help regulate a stable coin for the country of Ukraine. Actually, in 2021, Ukrainian president, and I hope I don't butcher this, Vladimir Zelensky, signed a bill that would actually allow the Ukrainian central bank to issue and work on its own digital currency. The president and members of parliament said while they wanted to bring cryptocurrency out of this somewhat void zone or gray area, they would not be going as far as, say, El Salvador or Venezuela, which fully accepted Bitcoin as legal tender. Now, we do see some places like Venezuela actually making this increasingly hard and somewhat stepping up regulations as they're going to be implementing a 20% tax on Bitcoin transactions. Earlier this week, according to locals, Venezuelan government has actually proposed and passed a new bill that will tax all cryptocurrency transactions in the country up to 20%. Legislators say that this new bill, in quote, is aimed to target large crypto transactions. This new bill, which was reportedly passed last Thursday, is not only going to implement a 20% tax on all cryptocurrency transactions, but also all transactions in the financial sector that involve a foreign currency. That means the US dollar is also going to be submitted to that 20% tax if used and traded inside Venezuela. This bill aims to implement 2 to 20% taxes on all transactions that do not occur within Venezuelans' native currency, the Bolivar, or their oil-backed cryptocurrency, El Petro. Yes, you may be thinking that this bill is meant solely to disincentivize the use of foreign currency or cryptocurrency, but it is also intended to boost the use and the percentage of their native currencies. As we saw, their native currency fell in value by up to 70% over the last year, and legislators are hoping that this bill is going to get their native currency back on track by, yes, disincentivizing the use of foreign currencies and digital currencies alike by implementing this new tax. Part of this bill actually does read, and I quote, "It is necessary to guarantee treatment at least equal to or more favorable to payments and transactions made in the national currency or in cryptocurrencies or crypto assets issued by the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela versus payments made in foreign currencies." It was only back in 2021, a few months ago in October, that Venezuelan businesses really started to broadly accept the use of cryptocurrencies as payment in order to combat the hyperinflation that the country was and is still experiencing. Now, how is this tax not only going to hurt the people of Venezuela, but is it also going to incentivize the use of their national currency, the Bolivar, and their native digital currency, or the oil-backed currency, El Petro? What do you think? Let me know down in the comments below on any of these topics. I would love to discuss them with you. There is some radical movements happening in cryptocurrency all across the world and for many, many different uses. We can only hope and wait and see how all of this evolves, but there is no getting rid of the digital currency. Some countries are completely banning it under this understanding. Some countries are adapting to it, understanding the same concept that others are using to ban it or heavily tax it to try and disincentivize the use. What do you think? Let me know down below. As always, stay profitable, my friends. Keep on hustling. And if you like to every once in a while see cryptocurrency, NFT, or these entrepreneurial videos on your YouTube, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It is the #1 way you can support the channel. And I'll just keep on keeping on and keep on making content for all of you beautiful people. Take it easy and have an amazing day.